Hey everyone, Strangers103 here today with a replay cast. Well, I've got a Shoukaku game for you guys. There are some Graf Zeppelin stuff, content thingies under processing approval by Wargaming. Hopefully someday I'll be able to actually show you that. There are going to be some discrepancies in what I'm talking about because this is actually recorded after I've played all the Graf Zeppelin games. And after I've done all the commentary for some of the Graf Zeppelin games under processing by Wargaming, so whatever. At least I can show you this without having to wait. Obviously not going to talk about Graf Zeppelin here at all, but it's one of the games I played where I selected the Shoukaku import just to view the differences between Shoukaku and Graf Zeppelin and compare the carriers, and I accidentally hit random battles while having this selected. So I don't have Torpedo Servicing Expert on this captain. I think it's a full AA captain for competitive in case of snipes, which don't really happen that much more anymore, but whatever. It's also a useful cargo captain to have, even though I don't have a Kaga. Anyways, I'm opening up with a pretty standard play. Just going to send my planes towards, well, my torpedo bombers towards A, fighters somewhere between A and B in case the enemy carrier wants to interfere, and I'm going to look for destroyers down here. Now, Moskva is heading towards B, so hopefully that'll be able to provide our Jägermeister some support. He's kind of heading into B at the moment. Our Shimmer's heading into C. We have one more destroyer, and I found the enemy Shimmer, so that's definitely going to be the target I want to go for. Fighters are coming along, so I pretty much need to pull my fighters away from the Bravo area, but since he doesn't have AS, I don't really predict this guy is going to be great. So I do mess up my clicks here a little bit, and the Shimmer does actually manage to down one of my planes. He's going to intern my torpedo bombers, it seems, which is minorly of a nuisance because, well, the drop doesn't really go off too well, and this one is majorly underled. I don't actually manage to cancel the attack on time and redeploy it to actually kill off the Shimmer. But I do manage to get the flooding. Going to disengage my squad further up just to make sure it doesn't get strafed by the enemy carrier. So I've lost 2 planes for 8 shot, well, basically for 8 kills. Because these are going to die. And I'm going to keep my dive bombers, at least one of them around here, to see if I can click this Shimmer to death. Unfortunately, one of my planes does go down, click goes in, but it doesn't actually manage to hit, and now that both my fighters are down here and his strike is spotted, that's a little bit of a minor nuisance, because I can't actually effectively get there to stop the attack of the Jägermeister. However, the Shimmer does actually manage to flood to death, because I did drop with sufficient time between the attacks. So, now I'm going to offer this Jägermeister my support, and find out what's actually in the Bravo cap near him, well, maybe, hopefully, being able to stop any air attack on him himself. Well, I'll move my carrier further up towards Charlie, because it seems the enemy team is kind of having a time moving down towards Alpha. Anyways, just going to commit a random dive bomber drop. I do actually manage to pick up fire against the Akitsuki, which is kind of nice. And I'm just going to wipe out these torpedo bombers, which seem to be under the Moskva's defensive AA aura, so they definitely don't seem to be having the great time of their life. Anyways, that's been done, and one of the torpedo waves against the Jägermeister has been spotted. So I'm gonna fly over and see if he did use his reload booster to send a second set. I don't really believe he did, so I mean, Jägermeister's already run away, so that's not gonna be a major problem. Just gonna keep my plane here. I don't really want to bleed planes to Akitsuki, but I'm already on a decent enough plane advantage against the enemy Shoukaku that I don't feel, well, I guess you could say threatened enough that it's going to eventually turn into a problem. Anyways, I don't think that Moskva's position is the world's best right now. He's not really going to have a great time there if he gets shot at by everything. So, and it doesn't have the camo to really support it, especially if he's going to YOLO in like that. So he's probably not going to have a good time at all. If he radars down Akitsuki right now, it wouldn't be too bad. He's definitely spotted because the Akitsuki's shelling him with HE right now, I think. Or no, he's actually shelling something behind that. So the Moskva might actually not be spotted, but if the... Well, now he definitely is, because he fired at the Don Sky, who spotted him, so, yep. Right now, I'm basically just hoping that the Moskva does not decide to radar this Akitsuki down, because if he doesn't radar him down, there's a chance I will be able to actually drop torpedo bombers on him. I failed to realize that his smoke screen is expiring, so he's actually relocating himself out of that smoke. Which was a major misjudgment on my end. However, this Akitsuki seems to be interning back again. I don't manage to get the drop on him. Trying to line it up, but fighters are coming in. That's not really the world's best, especially if he's going to turn away. And since the fighters are coming in, I might as well just force a bit of a terrible drop and see if I can't actually get a hit on him. the enemy carrier does not seem very interested in stopping my torpedo bombers. He seems to have just let him pass. So I do manage to pick up one hit on him, and he seems to be going after the dive bombers. My other fighter's not here yet, so I'm basically just going to fly my torpedo bomber through his fighters if he's keen enough to ignore them. I'm going to put a bit of a side strafe and order my torpedo bomber squadron to evade that strafing, and then tag the fighter behind just so that this single torpedo bomber can actually make it away. Don't want to sacrifice too many torpedo bombers in the earlier stages of the game. Now, unfortunately, my other fighter squadron, which I never actually cycled, is low on ammo, but the enemy carrier decides he's going to strafe into the void while bleeding planes to anti-air, so it's a perfectly fine result for me, because he's never going to get to achieve anything here. Simply just going to tag that. He's decided he wants to try to strafe out of that, and I recognize it too late thanks to the game being slow. So I actually do a counter strafe into the void, but his fighters are still just circling around there, so I'm pretty confident in my ability to just kill that off. Unfortunately, I did waste a lot of the ammo for that. Regardless, the Akitsuki is not having the best time of his life, and our fleet on Charlie really isn't doing much. We've already lost our Moskva, and I think we lost something else. We lost our Ognovai, they've lost the destroyer, so they have Aki on really low HP. We lost the Moskva, they've lost the Sankt Louis, which ain't bad because it's a ship that's overall quite difficult to shoot. I do see this Rossakurfus group, I see the Yamato down there as well. Kind of need to decide on something I need to pick apart and destroy. If it's the Dimitri Donskai's near that, I don't really want to meddle with the Turpus Rossakurfus group. Yamato does seem like the most, I guess you can say, obvious target to knock out, because he's trying to kite down our team, and trying to get rid of a Yamato is always nice, because he might help your team in trying to do something. From this point, I'm pretty much going to ignore the Akitsuki, because I don't really see it as too much value. Do see the strike planes coming in. Unfortunately, I'm pretty much only going to be able to get one strafe off. So I pretty much just need to decide on what I actually want strafed down. And for the most part, torpedo bombers are worth more, since these dive bombers need to fly much closer to the Montana's anti-aircraft to actually make these strikes. So I'm just going to commit it through here. My strike planes are finally getting into the air, and so I can actually, you know, make a play with them, see if I can't decide on what to attack. My number 2 fighter squadron's out of ammo, and the dive bombers all got wiped, so that's really good for us. So my fighters coming up can pretty much be used purely for defense. I do want to drop this Grossakur first for a damage over time stack, but seeing that the Donskai's over there, and this guy doesn't seem to have too short of an AA range, obviously AFT, so, you know, it's kind of what you'd expect. I'm going to try to line up the Turpets, but the fighters show up, and I don't have mine really ready. I wanted to send the fighter down there to spot the Akitsuki, but the Shima does actually manage to find that himself, so this is pretty much a waste of time trying to attack that, especially since there's now a Neptune there as well, so bleeding planes into that is just not the world's best idea with the Shoukaku. Especially considering the game's not even, you know, fully developed yet. We're only in the mid stages of the game with 2 ships sunk per team. So instead, I decided to, well, I contemplate going down there to smack this Yamato with a bit of damage, because our team doesn't seem to be doing too hot. Our Yamato is pretty much screwed. The rest of our team is just sitting around Charlie. No one's dealing with the flanking force coming up north. And, well, we've already lost a tier 10 battleship, the Moskva. So I'm just going to leave this fighter squadron up there and send another one further down south, figuring that the enemy carriers actually moved up the 1-2 line in the event, you know, that our team is going to further push down, and that's definitely evident by the fact that his fighters are now coming in a double stack towards me. I have a pretty big fighter advantage over him, but I do not want to send my ship towards him like that. However, this information does give me something very useful. It means I can safely fly down there and strike the Yamato without his fighters interfering, and I can keep my fighters somewhat near the central areas just to make sure that he doesn't try to attack us. And if he wants to fly these fighters towards me, that's perfectly fine. Kind of contemplating sending a bit of a strafe, but he's just coming in. Do a bit of a derpy attack on the Yamato since I recognize my planes arrived too late, but I do manage to get a double fire on him. The enemy fighters are coming in, and our Yugumo is smoking, so I just need to make sure that this Yugumo doesn't get too screwed. The enemy fighters do decide to turn back into my strafe, so that's a free kill for me. Double fire on the Yamato means I can come in with my torpedo bombers and just wipe the rest of the health he has left. And also protect this Yugumo from any potential air attack, since my fighters are basically full HP, 2 squadrons versus whatever the hell I can find. Aki shouldn't be having the best time of his life rushing a Turpus like that. The secondary should make havoc on him. So I don't expect this Akitsuki to survive, despite being directly in front of the Turpus. Although you can always question the chances of survival of that Turpus. Do a little bit of a derpy attack, since I was actually legit worried this Yamato's anti-aircraft was going to tear my planes apart, so I just wanted to get the flooding in, which I do manage to, so This Yamato is guaranteed dead. His dive bomb was spotted further down south. I mean, for the team to shoot at the Yamato, I don't care the faster he dies, the lower the chance he gets to shoot again. Enemy carriers now going for all turrets. I'm never going to stop the dive bombers on time, but I can stop the torpedo bombers. They kind of separated, they're not really stacked, which means it's a lot harder for me to strafe them all the way in one run. So if I want to strafe them all the way in one run, I pretty much have to commit a strafe like this, and if I'm lucky, I can even clip the dive bombers on the way home as well. He decides he's going to evade with a back squadron, but he does lose the full brunt of his first squadron in the process. So I'm just going to auto-tag his last squad so he doesn't get an accurate attack on a turret, who doesn't really seem to be in the world's most interested position to evade. But the enemy carries good evasive maneuvers, so I actually do manage to catch his dive bombers on the way home, and I'm going to strafe them to death. Now, number 2 squadron's a bit out of ammo. I'm going to ignore the other dive bomber because it's not a major problem for me. Kind of just want to force him to send some planes back home, and since he has evasive maneuvers, he's going to delay the time it takes for him to actually get a full strike back airborne to attack us, especially if he wants to stack them up reasonably. However, the turret doesn't actually manage to die to the dive bombers, probably because he damaged something silly. Now, right now, there really aren't many viable targets, so I'm just hoping that our guys kill this Neptune up top. That way I can go in and sink the turrets on my own for a lot of free damage. In the meantime, I'm going to keep moving my carrier down south. I'm not too far away from the battle, although I'm not too close either. Baltimore does pick up the Neptune, which is amazing. So now I just need to wait for my strike planes to get up there, and this health upgrade turrets should be dead. Especially considering the fact that there is a Baltimore spamming away at him as well. Now, it's really nice for the Yugamo on our team that he's actually he's marking the Dmitry Donskoi for fire. Hopefully our team does actually oblige and shoot the Dmitry Donskoi. Right now, since the Donskoi is a little bit farther away, I decide I'm going to go do just something really, really greedy, especially considering the Donskoi is being shot at. I'm going to go in. I see that the Kurfürst was slightly already on fire. I do manage to get 2 fires on that, and plus an extra one on the turrets, and I'm just going to track these guys. And both of them have, in fact, seemingly... Oh no, one of them is Damacon. The Kurfürst has, in fact, damage control party, so I'm going to do something really, really greedy. Instead of attacking the turrets in the back, I'm actually going to go for the Kurfürst with one and the turrets with the other, just to see if I can't get myself a lot of greedy damage. Unfortunately, however, my second torpedo bomber is pretty far away, so there's no real anti-aircraft sharing between these 2 squadrons, so chances are one of them are just going to get wiped down. That's a bit of a really derpy job, especially considering 2 of them just got shot down like that out of the blue, but I'm still going to pick up 2 hits on him, which is really quite nice. At this point, I wasn't even sure if I had torpedo acceleration or not, but seeing as that the other squadron just got wiped and this one's coming in, I'm just going to forcibly drop it early, seeing if I can't pick up a hit on him. Didn't actually manage to nail the tail hit, so no flooding off that guy, but the Graf Zeppelin is flooding, so I'm going to tell it out in chat to shoot the turrets instead of the Graf Zeppelin, since the Graf Zeppelin is going to die. But it seems the team does want to pick apart the Graf Zeppelin first. I guess high value target. He does manage to fire again, so any shells fired at him from this point is a complete waste of ammunition. Baltimore does nick the kill, but it doesn't really matter. I did manage to get some fire off the turrets, although I did bleed a lot of my strike planes in the process of doing this. I'm now basically completely out of replacements. But overall, that's not too bad of a situation to be in, considering the fact that we have pulled the situation back. The Donskoi is still alive, but sod him. The rest of their fleet is hopefully going to die. We do have, well, control of B again. Our destroyers did manage to do some work, especially considering the fact that we managed to knock their Shima out very early. So now it's really just a matter of waiting for the team to kill up this turret so that I can attack the other one. And if there's any time left in the game, hopefully, you know, actually get to do some more damage. Enemy carrier is still alive, but I don't think he's got many planes left, because we did manage to wipe out 47 of them off my own, and he has fed some more to our Montana and along with other stuff. Him spotting me, I don't really care too much. It's not a major problem. But the next attack I do is most likely going to be the last one I get for this game. Since our team is slightly split up now, and Ashima has actually managed to find their aircraft carrier, kind of like I expected. He's up there. So hopefully once his turret dies, I can actually rush some fighters behind enemy lines to provide assistance to the Shoukaku, to the killing of the enemy Shoukaku in case Ashima does decide to do anything fishy, or the enemy carrier decides to spot him. But I see another health upgrade turrets, so I'm definitely going to send my strike planes in to attack that. Pretty much just hoping that if I fly my planes near him, the turrets will react in a way, an angle against our turrets that that way that we can actually manage to get him to dodge the friendly shimmer torpedoes, because I'm a greedy fuck and I want more damage for myself. Trying to spread the dive bombers between him a little bit, but I only managed to pick up 2 hits, which is really, really silly, and I don't get any fires off that, so I'm contemplating to myself that he's already pressed the damage control party button, considering that he's a 72,000 health Tirpitz and sailing in a straight line broadside to our Tirpitz. I don't expect much of this guy. So it's really just me hoping for luck right now, and hoping that it doesn't turn away from my torpedo bombers when I come in and drop them. Because if it does turn away from these torpedo bombers, then he's gonna sail fully into the what's their face against Shimmer's torpedoes. By now, I'm not even sure if I have torpedo acceleration on this. I'm pretty sure I do, but I mean, it's silly not to have torpedo acceleration, though it is for some reason a competitive spec Shoukaku, so I'm pretty sure I don't have torpedo servicing. But whatever, the Baltimore burns that Tirpitz down. The Baltimore definitely has had a quite alright game, although he's been running for most of it. Shimmer's chasing down the Shoukaku, and the game's, despite us not having Bravo Cap, is basically, for all intents and purposes, over, and the enemy carrier doesn't seem to have any more planes left. He probably fed them to the team already. I don't actually have the post-battle result screens, and I'm pretty sure that's the last attack I actually managed to get off this game. But not too bad of a game overall. 48 plane kills, of course the enemy Shoukaku wasn't even trying. I mean, he's got evasive maneuvers without having AS, so what do you expect? Montana's still alive, seemingly had an alright game. This North Carolina, I don't know what the hell he's thinking about doing, but I don't think useful is part of his plan. And now I'm pretty much just hoping that the Shimmer actually dies to the Shoukaku's secondaries, but it does actually have some health left to tank. The Shoukaku secondaries have pretty bad firing angles overall. So if the Shoukaku wants to evade torpedoes, he won't be in a position to actually fire secondaries on the Shimmer. Speaking of torpedoes, yeah, you're not dodging that, so you're pretty much stuffed, so yeah, that's basically game. Especially considering the Montana just blapped that North Carolina to death. Yeah, as long as the Shimmer stays where he is, he's never going to get secondary, because the Shoukaku just doesn't have the angles. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the post-battle result screens, but I did a 60-odd K damage, did manage to pick up the Shimmer kill in the beginning, so that's not too bad. It's really just the only other carrier game I've played recently, other than the Graf Zeppelin, which hopefully I'll actually be allowed to show you guys some gameplay review and, well, how you click with that thing. But that would obviously have to go through Wargaming approval, so hey, we shall see. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and perhaps I shall see you guys in the next one.